Welcome to the Nintendo Wiretap Weekend Edition for April 25th, 2020. Now, the Nintendo Wiretap Weekend Edition takes a look at all of the biggest stories from this week and puts it together in a mega episode. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the biggest stories from this past week. Coming in at number 1 today, we have some datamine information from Animal Crossing New Horizons, and just a quick heads up, if for any reason you don't want to know anything about this potential datamine, I'd recommend leaving this episode right now. Still here? Alright, let's take a look. An Animal Crossing New Horizons data miner by the name of Ninji revealed quite a few things about Animal Crossing New Horizons, including updates to the museum, a cafe, and gyroids. Now, according to Ninji, there's going to be 2 extra museum upgrades. Now, one of these upgrades is an art section, which is something that everybody has speculated for some time, but it's nice to see it looks like it's officially coming. Now, on top of that, there's also 2 standalone buildings that are supposedly coming too. One being a museum shop, maybe a gift shop, something like that, and another building being a museum cafe, which, if I had to guess, would include Brewster, my favorite Animal Crossing character ever. So here's hoping that these upgrades are coming very soon. Oh yeah, on top of that, the Museum Cafe is supposedly going to have a gyroid section in it too, so maybe you can make some music to kind of drink your coffee to? Who knows? Next up, a returning character by the name of Red, I'm sure you know who that is apparently going to start appearing on players' islands via the secret beach at the northern tip of the island. Now, one thing Red is very much known for is selling fake art. It's a big mechanic that's been in pretty much every Animal Crossing I can think of, and it makes the player really inspect the artwork for any kind of inconsistencies. According to this datamine, this is apparently a mechanic that's coming back too. And keep in mind, you cannot donate art to the museum that is fake. So Blathers is very, very picky about the art that goes up in that museum, so make sure you inspect it very closely first. Next up, we have bushes and vegetables. Now, bushes are something that have been in previous Animal Crossing games, so it is nice to see we're going to get a variety of bushes in the game too, but something more exciting is in there too. And of course, that is growable vegetables. That includes tomatoes, wheat, sugarcane, potatoes, carrots, and pumpkins. Now, at this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen with these vegetables, but it's kind of nice to be able to grow things other than fruit on the island. Now, next up, we have seafood and diving. Now, the game is apparently going to be getting a new type of collectible tracked via Critterpedia, seafood. Now, according to Ninji, this seafood section is going to have 33 entries, one of which is the Manila clam that players can already dig up on their beaches as of now. Now, diving is also returning from Animal Crossing New Leaf, which allows players to obtain different sets of fish and other items that you can't get in the game any other way. Now, combined with the other things you can grow, the vegetables, the tomatoes, everything like that, this almost seems like we might get some sort of cooking mechanic added to Animal Crossing, combined with the seafood and the veggies and the fruits. Imagine being able to make meals and share them with friends, something that could really add just kind of a spice to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, one of the other things that was mentioned in this data mine was a second Nook's Cranny upgrade. Now, as of right now, in the game's code, you can only upgrade Nook's Cranny 1 additional level. And if you've played other games like Animal Crossing New Leaf, you know that Nook's Cranny could be pretty much this giant utopia shopping center. It was really big, and kind of a disappointment that, at least in the base model of New Horizons, that didn't exist. But like I said before, it looks like at least one new upgrade is coming to Nook's Cranny. What that looks like, I have no idea. Now, there are some other minor details to look at here. I have a link to the full data mine down in the description below. Make sure you click on that if you want more information on this one. Now, it is important to realize that until Nintendo announces this is all at this point just speculation, but it is in the code, at least according to this data miner who has a positive track record. So I would venture to say we should see these features start rolling out pretty darn soon. But stay tuned to Nintendo Wire. We'll let you know as soon as we have any more information on this story. Next up today, we have another rumor. That's right, it's just a rumor-filled day. And this one, Best Buy has listed Super Mario 3D World for Nintendo Switch. Now, Super Mario 3D World has been one of the most requested ports ever since the Switch launched, and in recent months, we've seen a growing number of rumors suggesting that a version of the beloved Wii U 3D platformer is on the way, specifically as part of a 35th anniversary Mario blowout. Now, some more fuel has been added to this fire, with Best Buy in the US recently uploading a Switch version of Super Mario 3D World to its storefront, as relayed by Wario64. Now, this would not be the first time that retailers have accidentally leaked Nintendo goodies ahead of time, so this rumor really could have some teeth, but once again, like the last story we reported on, until Nintendo makes it official, it's all just speculation, but here's hoping we're going to see something on this pretty darn soon. Now, Super Mario 3D World was one of my favorite Mario games ever. It was just fun, it was challenging, a very difficult game, and the co-op was just really amazing, so seeing this on the Switch would be really nice. But I'm curious your thoughts on this game. Are you a fan of 3D World? Have you ever played it? Let me know down in those comments below. But like I said before, we should get some information on this one pretty soon, if it's fake or if it's not. Here's hoping Nintendo has another Direct coming up very soon. I would imagine sometime around when E3 would have been in mid-June. So stay tuned. Alright, coming in at number 1 today, last night, Nintendo has confirmed a massive Super Mario Maker 2 update is on the way, and included in this is some pretty major upgrades. Now, Super Mario Maker 2 has been out for some time, and many people have been a bit disappointed with the update schedule for this game, but it looks like Nintendo has finally listened and is releasing some pretty big updates. So let's go down the list. There is a Super Mario Bros. 2 mushroom that turns Mario into a Super Mario Bros. 2 version of Mario. This mushroom also lets Mario pick up enemies just like he would in Super Mario Bros. 2, which I'm going to tell you right now is one of my favorite additions to this update. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said before, I'm excited about this portion of the upgrade, but I would have loved to see even more Super Mario Bros. 2 content. Maybe even a Super Mario Bros. 2 course maker, something like that. Now, I know Mario Bros. 2 was based on Doki Doki Panic, so I'm guessing that's probably why it's not included in this update. It makes more sense just to have the character sprites, but like I said before, I really would have loved to see even more Super Mario Bros. 2 stuff in this. Besides that, the frog suit's coming, a new suit called the Power Balloon that lets you kind of soar through the air in a big balloon suit. I'm liking that. A Super Acorn, a Boomerang Flower, a Cannon Box, which is pretty amazing. I can imagine the just absolutely amazing side-scrolling shoot-'em-up games people are going to make with this thing. A propeller box for jumping and spinning in the air. A red POW box that lets you essentially wear a POW block on your head. A Goomba mask that lets you blend in with enemies so they don't attack you. Very much like Breath of the Wild with the Majora's Mask. I think that's one of the coolest upgrades here. And a Bullet Bill mask that lets you essentially turn into Bullet Bill. Now, besides that, the Koopalings are also coming to Battle too, so all of the original Koopalings are there, and there are new parts as well, including a Cursed Key, an on-off trampoline, and a Mecha Koopa, which is pretty great. But the big boy here, the absolute biggest piece of this update, is a World Maker mode. This lets you essentially create massive Mario worlds pretty much to your heart's content. You can pretty much design them any way you want. They have a field, an underground, a desert, snow, sky forest, volcano, and even outer space. This is something I know a lot of people have been wanting for some time because now at this point, you're not just playing a level, you can play an entire Mario-themed game. So I'm really excited to see what people are going to do with this. Now, me personally, I'm not the greatest at designing courses, so I don't think I'm going to be making a lot with this game, but I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of your creations too. Now, if you're curious when this is coming out, you have very, very little time to wait. It's coming out tomorrow. That's right, Wednesday, April 22nd. You can download this update and get going. And best of all, it's free. Gotta love Nintendo. But there you go, folks. Super Mario Maker's 2 massive new update coming out tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts on this one in those comments down below. Alright, speaking of updates, it looks like Animal Crossing New Horizons is getting a load of brand new content starting on Thursday, April 23rd. It's going to be a busy week to be a Nintendo fan. So if you watched the episode of the Nintendo Wiretap yesterday, we let you know that Datamines found a whole bunch of pretty big updates coming to Animal Crossing, and it looks like most of those things are coming true. So here's what you can expect from the update coming out on Thursday. Leaf's garden shop is opening. Leaf is kind of I think he's a sloth. Yeah, he's definitely a sloth. He is kind of the owner of a flower shop, and he is going to be there to essentially sell you shrubs and seeds and really make your island very pretty and decorative. Not my cup of tea, but still, I know a lot of people have been wanting shrubs and bushes back in the game, so congrats, here they are. Something called Jolly Red's Treasure Trawler is coming as well. Now you might remember Red from other Animal Crossing games. He is a red fox who likes to, well, sell bootleg artwork. Now what he usually does in previous games is he comes to town. He has usually 4 or 5 pieces of art on display. One of them is real, the rest are bootleg. You have to determine which one is the real item. It looks like that mechanic is coming back. Instead of having a tent though, he comes up in a boat, like a real pirate. And my guess is he's probably stolen most of this artwork, which makes this even better, in my opinion. Now, one of the things about this mechanic is that it really makes people really inspect artwork, and I kind of like that. I think it's something that kind of opens up different kinds of art that people might not necessarily, look at on their own time. But that is definitely coming to the game as well. But what are you going to do with the artwork once you get it? Well, donate it to Blathers, of course, and in order to do that, it looks like we're getting an upgrade to the museum with an artwork wing, something that we knew was coming for at least some time now, but now it's officially confirmed that artwork is coming to the museum. Very exciting. Starting on April 3rd, going to May 4th, something called Nature Day is coming, which is kind of cool, and it looks like it is a part of a Nook Miles challenge that lets you essentially accomplish nature-inspired goals like planting trees, watering flowers, and other things like that. So that's coming once again April 23rd to May 4th. May Day Tour is coming on May 1st through the 7th, and it's essentially going to allow you to pick up May Day tickets and fly to very special islands. It looks like these are going to be special island tours that are going to be chock full of just interesting activities, and on one of these tours, you can kind of see here in the background that Rover, the cat from previous Animal Crossing games, is shown there for the very first time. Exciting to see him make a comeback too. International Museum Day is coming from May 18th through the 31st, and it's kind of like a stamp rally. They have these at real museums where you go to different exhibits and you get different stamps on things. Kind of a cool thing. And then finally, wedding season from June 1st through the 30th is reintroducing Reese and Cyrus into the game. 2 characters I know a lot of people have been begging to see in Animal Crossing. Those 2 are making a comeback in this wedding-themed event. But there you go, all of the events you can expect in Animal Crossing New Horizons this spring. If you want even more information, I have a link to the video and all of the details on all of these activities in the description below. And speaking of Animal Crossing, it looks like we have even more Animal Crossing news, but this time it's about the sales of the game. Animal Crossing New Horizons has already outsold every other game in the series in the US. Now, we reported that Animal Crossing New Horizons had absolutely stellar sales in Japan earlier this month, but now we have even more information that Animal Crossing New Horizons was the best-selling game of March 2020 and is already the second best-selling game of 2020 so far, only behind Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Even more phenomenal is the performance in regard to the rest of the franchise, with the game already outselling all previous entries within a single month, making it the best-selling Animal Crossing game ever in the US. It's also worth noting that this is without digital sales, which is mind-blowing. Most people I know that have this game picked up the digital copy of the game, so imagine when those numbers come out, just how far ahead of everything Animal Crossing New Horizons is going to be. Now finally, New Horizons has also seen Nintendo's 3rd best launch month since 2008. The only 2 games to outsell it in its launch month were Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So Animal Crossing New Horizons is really taking the world by storm. So there you go, all of your Animal Crossing New Horizons news in one little video. Alright, coming in at number 1 today, Nintendo Japan is ending production of gray, red, and yellow Joy-Con. Now, this was reported by Japanese Nintendo. The Joy-Con family is getting downsized. According to Japan's Nintendo site, the accessory page lists that the gray, red, and neon yellow Joy-Con have ended production. This might be due to a variety of factors. It could be just because the Nintendo Switch is in so high of demand right now, they're focusing on really the colors that are selling the most. Maybe it's something to do with the unprecedented times we're living in, but at this point Nintendo has yet to make a formal statement about this change. Now keep in mind, at this point this is only regarding Japan. There's no information whatsoever about North American production. Usually North America doesn't even show if these things are in production anymore anyway, so there's no real way of telling if this is affecting any other regions, but For the time being, it might be time to go down in chat, hit that F button for our gray, neon yellow, and our beloved red Joy-Con. We will miss you if you are in fact going away. Now stay tuned to Nintendo Wire. We'll let you know if we hear anything about these productions going maybe back into manufacturing, or if for any reason this reaches to North America anytime soon. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have some surprise Splatoon news I was not expecting to see yesterday. But it looks like Splatfest is returning with one of the most controversial matchups of all time, Team Ketchup versus Team Mayo. Now, here we were, thinking Splatfest was completely done in Splatoon 2. I mean, they had that big final fest. It was the apocalypse. Remember that? Well, we're living in a very different time now, and to maybe make things more bearable, getting the community back together, Nintendo has decided to bring back Splatfest for one do-over. And like I said before, we have Team Mayo versus Team Ketchup. Now, the first time this thing went off, Team Mayo won every single region, which was absolutely insane to me because, in my opinion, Ketchup is superior. But who knows? At this point, we might see a new winner. Now, this is kicking off on May 22nd, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, and ends on May 24th at the same time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, is this a one-time thing? Maybe is this some sort of, like I said before, way to get people together with everything going on in the world? I mean, who knows at this point? But if you even want more Splatoon news, there's even more good news, especially if you are brand new to Splatoon 2. So right alongside the Splatfest, it also looks like a Splatoon 2 special free demo period for the game has also been announced, kicking off on 4/29, starting at 11 p.m. Pacific Time, going until May 6th at 7 a.m. Pacific Time. And finally, to sweeten the pot even a little bit more, they're offering a 30% discount on the full version of Splatoon 2 starting that day, with a 7-day free trial of Nintendo Switch Online as well. So if you are maybe wanting to dip your toes into the amazing Splatoon 2, this might be a good opportunity to do so. It's alive! It's alive! Okay, maybe I'm getting a little bit too excited here. Now, it's been months since we've had any concrete Amiibo news. In fact, for the first time since Amiibo have been released, we are in this very unknown period with no new Amiibo on the horizon. Now, it's to be expected that we should get Amiibo for all the DLC fighters in Smash Ultimate, but like I said, Nintendo has yet to confirm anything. But that might have changed at least today. So here's what we know. Now, this was originally found by the good folks at Japanese Nintendo, and they stumbled upon what appears to be a patent for a brand new Amiibo mechanic. Now, keep in mind, this is not a new Amiibo figure, this is just a patent for how Amiibo would work in a game. Now, this looks very similar to the original patent that came out for Amiibo, so there is some speculation that this might not be a brand new patent, but Nintendo is renewing their existing patent for Amiibo. I mean, it makes sense for them to renew it because, games like Animal Crossing New Horizons is still using Amiibo, so it's not like Nintendo is just going to let this patent expire, but at the same time, this could be a brand new patent as well. Only time is going to tell on this. Now, the entire patent is completely in Japanese. We've done our best to translate it, but it's pretty generic for the most part. It essentially says that use the NFC figure to essentially control a character in a game. Like I said, nothing absolutely huge here. But that being said, it's at least something to carry us through this Amiibo void that we've been in. I've been dying for any kind of mention of Amiibo news from Nintendo. And yes, I know we are in very strange times. Factories are closed down, so maybe manufacturing has been delayed, so Nintendo is being a bit more quiet on the Amiibo front. But here's hoping that we are going to get some news very soon. My guess would be, if we do get news, it's going to be right around June when E3 would have been. So stay tuned for more news on this story. We'll let you know if anything else comes from this. Now, are you guys in the same boat as me? Do you just want more Amiibo more than you can possibly say? Are you dying on the inside like me too? Let me know in those comments down below. Coming up next today, we have some new Japanese Animal Crossing New Horizons sales numbers, and surprise, surprise, it's still #1. Who would have thought? Now, we knew Animal Crossing New Horizons was selling more copies than you could possibly imagine. I think we've mentioned this on several wiretaps so far. But now in Japan, physical copies have exceeded 3.6 million units, a number that's absolutely mind-boggling. Now keep in mind, this does not include digital sales. This is 100% physical, and we're talking about Japan, a relatively small country. Yes, I know there's a lot of gamers there, but imagine when we can combine the physical, digital, and North American numbers. Animal Crossing New Horizons is going to be an absolute phenomenon. Now in Japan, to kind of give you an idea of how many copies this is selling, we are in its 4th week of sales, and last week it sold almost 300,000 units. For comparison, Final Fantasy VII Remake, another fantastic game, which I love very, very much by the way, only sold 70,652 units in the exact same time frame. Now, I mentioned this on a podcast I do with my friend Hero TJ, that I think Animal Crossing is very quickly becoming Nintendo's new flagship property. If these numbers continue, I think Animal Crossing is no longer going to be a franchise that's going to be getting a new entry once every 5 to 6 years. We're going to see Animal Crossing spin-offs, TV shows, you name it. I think we're going to see a lot of Animal Crossing stuff coming out in the next year. Nintendo is definitely going to want to capitalize on this gravy train. But there you go, brand new Animal Crossing sales figures. Let me know what your thoughts on this story is in those comments down below. Now, if that's not enough Nintendo news to get you through the day, we have even more stories over at NintendoWire.com, including a whole bunch of Animal Crossing New Horizons guides. We have some new information on the upcoming Ninjala game that's very much like Splatoon. I think this game actually looks pretty cool too. And a whole lot more. Head over to NintendoWire.com to see all of today's stories. And while you're at it, if you want to find me on Twitter, you can find my personal Twitter account at AmiiboJason, where I share my thoughts on gaming as a whole. I have a link to that Twitter account in the description below. That's going to wrap up tonight's Nintendo Wiretap. I'll see you next time with yet another episode, but as always, until then, stay wired in. Bye, guys.